These might just be the new mini earbud budget champs. That went smoother in my brain than it just came out. Soundpeats sent over the Mini Pro for me to test drive and share my thoughts, and we've got a screaming good deal on our hands here. The sub $100 market for true wireless earbuds is getting crazy competitive, but a new tier well below $100 is getting real hot as fancy new technologies drop farther and farther in price. Recently I was playing with Earfun and Mobvoi, and even some OnePlus buds on a sale. We have a greater variety of tuning, sound quality, and different options for different tech bits. The Mini Pro approached this market with a strong offering. They're very good. 10mm dynamic driver in this small profile casing, Bluetooth 5.2 with aptX adaptive as the top premium codec. They boast some heavy-duty microphone tech to reduce noise in your phone calls. We'll have to test that in just a bit. And a big hook in this tier, active noise cancellation with a pass-through audio mode. IPX5 water resistance, which is good because I get kind of sweaty. The range is solid. I have no issues moving around both stories of our condo without dropping or degrading the signal too bad. And the latency is respectably good. There's a game mode on tap. These newer codecs have practically closed the gap on lag in gaming under optimal conditions. Even games that rely on specific audio cues for the player, like Thumper, this is playable on Bluetooth, and it's playable on Bluetooth for cheap. The battery life is an interesting marketing discussion. Now, Soundpeats claim 7 hours of playback, but I almost exclusively listened with ANC turned on. I believe their claims for ANC off, but I got just over 4.5 hours on my first full charge. I would imagine heavy use of ANC or the pass-through mode would be sort of similar performance. I also have to mention that the control is a little fiddly. I adore that primary single tap control is volume. Volume up and volume down. Single tap, that's the way all earbuds should be. But the other controls are a bit busy, and you have to get a feel for nailing the specific taps and holds. So if you play pause with a double tap, it can't be to tap. It has to be tap, tap. Triple tap on the left ear is the really fast game mode. Then on the right ear, that triple tap is your voice assistant. Tap, tap, tap. And then you get into 2 different long presses and things get kind of weird. It's a 1.5 second hold to cycle ANC, but for calls, holding for 1.5 seconds rejects a call, but holding for 2 seconds will switch between calls if you have one call on hold. I do not trust this style of handling calls from my earbuds. I'm getting a bit snarky, but I really like that everything these buds can do can be done on the buds with tap and hold commands, but it's maybe the steepest learning curve I've yet found in true wireless. You'll need to take a minute and memorize this flowchart for sure. Now, we don't seem to have any fancy ear detection mode. There's no auto pause that I can find when I pop these out of my skull. There is no wireless charging in the case, and that's pretty par for the course at this price. We trade some of the techie bits to rein in costs. If you want wireless charging, maybe you give up on having a fancier audio codec. Soundpeats has chosen well to represent a low-profile, sporty earbud with very good gaming capabilities. That low profile point matters for folks needing a smaller fit. Oval-shaped ear arms, at their thinnest, they're a fraction thinner than my previous champs, the One More Color buds. They're a little taller, but if you need a smaller fit, these are one of the best I've played with yet. So, this tech game is on point, but these are earbuds, so how do they sound? Pretty good, but with a few concerns in some specific situations. This 10mm driver is used to great effect. This is full and rich. It's a consumer-friendly kinda earbud. They lean a little bass heavy for those sweet, sweet lows. There's a fun rumble, which doesn't get too sloppy, so when we're in a Daft Punk kind of mood, the drums boom. And I have like a harder time picking out East's bass guitar, but Nile Rodgers' guitar slices through nice and clean, and Pharrell floats up on top. It's really pretty. This kind of tuning is fun, but it can add a bit more distance when you fire up something more singer-songwriter. Like, I'm revisiting some Dolly Parton, and these lows seem to enhance the reverb of that recording a little. It kind of puts her a little farther away in the mix. However, these general notes are with ANC off. Now, the ANC is very good. It cuts a lot more noise around you than Mobvoi or even Earfun, but it seems to cut into the tuning a little more. I feel I'm losing just a touch in the mids, where grungy guitar distortion can start to sound peaky. It's an effect I've commented on in older ANC cans, especially less expensive gear. Like, it engages a slightly broader smiley face EQ, pushing the highs and lows. So listening to Alien Ant Farm was a little fatiguing on these. Now, that ANC also does come with it's just like a little air to the effect. It's not bad, it's not a hiss. And in fact, it can be kind of pleasant when you're not listening to anything. It's almost got like kind of a nice natural breeze kind of sound to it. Okay, all of that was some really granular criticism for an inexpensive earbud, but the playback is so good that when I notice those kinds of things, they stand out a little more. And that's exciting about hitting this price tier with those kinds of expectations. The environments where you would need the ANC are likely not areas where you'll be as concerned about the exacting nature of your EQ. There are going to be different tactics used by different earbuds to rein in those costs. The Mobvoi effect is really subtle. Like, it only blocks the most consistent sound in your environment, but it affects the sound, the tuning of your music a little less. It's one of those things that we need to trade. It's all about those different pros and cons. And of course, everyone's ear is a little bit different, and I'm only sharing my experiences. Your mileage will vary depending on the fit. Now, the stereo stage is about par for the course. If audio isn't hard panned to one ear, it feels just a bit more forward than on nicer or more reference grade equipment. This is totally solid in this price tier. And the all-important microphone test, checking these out here, recording directly to the phone. Obviously, this isn't going over a video call or a phone call, so it's not a call quality test, but it's been really, really windy. The winds have died down for just a moment here, but there's still a pretty decent breeze kind of traveling through here. You can get a sense of what these are going to be like in kind of a more open environment, what they're going to sound like, and I'm probably going to have to kick this off here before the winds really start blasting again. But a few other concerns. The first isn't really an issue with Soundpeats, but one I think we're going to see a little bit more this year. The top codec here is aptX Adaptive, but you won't get that top level codec unless you're using a more recent Qualcomm powered phone. My SIM card is in the Pixel 6 Pro, and that has a Google SoC, so I fall back to regular aptX. I paired these up with a MediaTek powered phone. I fell back to AAC. As we see more competition in the SoC market, different phones using different processors, I think we're in for a short window of support issues on earbuds. aptX, LDAC, LHDC, eventually we'll support all of these on all phones, but we'll need to spend at least a year working out all these different licensing agreements. And the other gripe, I can't get into the Soundpeats companion app. Registering a new account is kind of a mess, and the app won't let you do anything until you register. It looks like a cool app. I genuinely don't know what's in there or how it works. Again, I'm real happy I can do all the controls for these earbuds on the earbuds. All right, that's enough rambling for me. Best that we wrap all this up. The Mini Pro are rad. This is a baller option in the affordable earbud space. A punchy, rich, sporty earbud with fun bells and whistles, solid performance, and in a small profile form factor. Minus a few premium features, it's getting harder and harder to recommend more expensive base level name brand earbuds. Yeah, I really should try and put together a roundup on some of my favorite inexpensive solutions. That could be a lot of fun. Looking around the marketplaces at full MSRP, I think this is a pretty good deal, but make sure you check the Soundpeats website or their Amazon listing, as you'll often see coupon codes or sales dropping this price even more. Once we start getting closer to that $50 territory, these become formidable options. I will, of course, drop a link down below to shop these puppies online, find more information on Soundpeats, the Mini Pro, and all of their other headphones. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel, and also make sure that you're checking out links and stuff down below. I finally put together a playlist of all of my headphone testing tracks on Earbuds, so you can get a really high quality representation of the tracks that I first listened to try and grade headphone performance. I'm always kind of interested in hearing what other people use to kind of grade their own headphone playback. Affiliate links, merch sales, that kind of stuff really does help keep production rolling on this channel. Full list of all my affiliates and partnerships, SomeGadgetGuy.com, or you might consider joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list is basically the coolest collection of tech and audio pals in the universe, if I'm being honest, if I'm being frank. So I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, not so much on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I will catch you all on the next review.